ASMR. Thank you for tuning in to today's video, where I am showing you more of my book collection. That's right, it's a collections video. So, as usual, if you enjoyed today's video, feel free to go to sleep. That's why you're here, is it not? And with all that being said, let's get right into the video. So the first book that we have today is called The Gate by Natsume Soseki, and I'm going to butcher everything in this video because all of these books is Japanese literature. And I can barely speak English, let alone say names in a different language. So I apologize. But I really like this author. In my first video of my books, I showed a book called Kokoro. It's one of my favorite books that I've read so far. An amazing read. I should definitely check it out. This author passed away over 100 years ago. So his books, they're old, but they hold up to today's standards. I really like his writing style. I like what he writes about. It's just a very, very good book. This one, I'm only on page like 25, 26. Let's see. Yeah, I'm on page 26, so I haven't really dove fully into this book, but Kokoro, like I said, is one of my favorite books so far that I have read. I just recently started getting into reading more. I had never really read prior to that. About a year ago, I read No Longer Human, and that kind of got me into the world of books. So ever since then, I've been ordering a bunch of books. I think that's also why all of my books are Japanese literature. But we're going to read the back of this boy right now. And also, I just like the cover. I'm a sucker for a good cover of a book. But anyway, The Gate is not so much tragic or comic as a graceful balance between the dispiriting and the humorous. It is surely the kind of writing we need, a masterpiece of taste and clarity. Alright, so a humble clerk and his loving wife scrape out a quiet existence on the margins of Tokyo, resigned following years of exile and misfortune to the bitter consequences of having married without their family's consent. And unable to have children of their own, Sasuke and Ayone find the delicate equilibrium of their household upset by a new obligation to meet the educational expenses of Sasuke's brash younger brother. While an unlikely new friendship appears to offer a way out of this bind, it also soon threatens to dredge up a past that could once again force them to flee the capital. Yikes. Desperate and torn, Sasuke finally resolves to travel to a remote Zen mountain monastery to see if perhaps there, through meditation, he can find a way out of his predicament. This moving and deceptively simple story, a melancholy tale shot through with glimmers of joy, beauty, and gentle wit, is an understated masterpiece by one of Japan's greatest writers. At the end of his life, Natsume Soseki declared The Gate, originally published in 1910, Titanic ain't even sank yet, to be his favorite among all his novels. And that is actually why I got this book, because I seen that it was his favorite. So, if it's his favorite and he's the author of these books, it must be wonderful. So, that is The Gate. So I think sometimes the simplest stories turn out to be the best. Not everything needs to be complex. Not everything needs to be complex. A little tapping for the soul, right? A little tapping for the soul. Yes, indeed. A little tapping for the soul. But that would be The Gate as I said, this wasn't going to be the last time the name popped up, because we have another book by the same author, and then I actually don't know what this one's about. I just buy books. This is my first time opening the book, cracking the spine. A Japanese writer of genius. So apparently, in Japan, this guy must be real big. As I've said before, I'm new to the world of books. I don't even know any American authors. But let's read what this book is about, and I'm going to be just as clueless as you may be, because, again, I don't even remember what the plot of this book is. But it says, Sosuke Natsume is Japan's most beloved and respected author, and this book ranks as one of his most insightful and stirring novels. Daisuke, the protagonist, is a man in his 20s who struggles to find purpose and identity in the changing social landscape of the Meiji-era Japan. As Japan enters the 20th century, old customs give way to new Western ideals. Thanks to his father's wealth, Daisuke has the luxury of time to develop his own philosophy of life while remaining intellectually aloof from traditional Japanese culture and the demands of the world against him, or the world around him, I should say. Then suddenly, his life takes an unexpected turn, and Daisuke must weigh his choices and take a stand in a culture that has always valued societal obligations above personal freedom. Okay, I see a trend in his books. People changing with the new times that Japan was going through. So it's very interesting. That must be a very big theme in all of his books. I've seen one of his biggest books is called I Am a Cat. I was thinking of getting that one as well, but I haven't yet. But depending on how I enjoy these books, I may end up getting every book this man has ever written, which I'm fine with. And then a Japanese writer of genius. So the author was born in 1867. That is a long time ago. A long time ago indeed. He became a scholar of Chinese, Japanese, and English literature and went on to write some of Japan's most beloved novels. His protagonists are people who struggle to balance social expectations with personal desires and the alienation that results from this. He is so revered in Japan that his image appeared on the 1,000 yen note for many years. Okay. So this man's big. The yen note. My man was on the 1,000 yen note. That's crazy. If I have any viewers in Japan, which I don't think I have any viewers in Asia, but if I do, let me know, is this man as popular and known as they say he is? I imagine with how, at least just how these books are saying about him, they probably read these stories in school. How in America we read, like I said, To Kill a Mockingbird and Of Mice and Men. In my school, when I was in middle school, we also read The Giver. Good book. And with a good book comes good sounds. With a good book comes good sounds. As you can also see, off topic, I'm wearing the new Hypeland Sonic collab. Love it. I love Sonic. So I had to get it. This one is the Sonic Verse Metal Sonic shirt. I also bought one of the Chow hats. If you guys remember Chow's from Sonic Adventure 1 and Sonic Adventure Battle 2, you could raise them, take care of them, and make them do races, karate, and it was ahead of its time, I should say. So I got one of the hats. It hasn't came in yet, but the shirt came in about, I think, 2 weeks ago. If you don't know what Hypeland is, they do really nice anime collabs. They just did have really nice rugs. Really nice rugs. My buddy got a Sharingan rug from them. Off topic, but whatever. But that is. And then, now this is the last time you'll see his name, I believe. This next book is the only hardcover book that I have. The heartwarming Japanese classic, over 2 million copies sold, and that would be called How Do You Live? How Do You Live? Alright, so, like I said, this is a hardcover. You can take this bad boy off and it becomes a blank book. Looks like a prop extra. But the Japanese classic that has delighted millions of readers in English for the first time. Yep, I am obsessed with Japanese literature, but that's nice. I'll dive into everything. If it means anything at all to live in this world, it's that you must live your life like a true human being and feel just what you feel. Alright, so maybe this will be a happy one. A lot of the books I have aren't really happy. But let's see. This deeply thoughtful Japanese classic is a gentle tale of self-discovery and reflection. Yoshino's timeless lessons will resonate with sensitive readers, young and old. And that's the author, for anyone wondering. Yoshino. I don't want to... Genzaburo. Yoshino. Again, butchering these names. I apologize. I can't even say English names right. Alright. All classic children's books are works of philosophy in one sense or another, but few classics for young readers are as entirely philosophical. So, I'm reading the back here a little bit, and it says, all children's books are works of philosophy in one sense or another. So is this a children's book? Either way, I do not mind, because there's many children's books out there that are just wonderful. Charlotte's Web, bam, right there. Great movie, great book. Let's see. Following the death of his father. Is it a children's book? I don't know. We're gonna find out when I read it. This will be the next book I read after the gate. Following the death of his father, Copper, 15, faces enormous changes, and he wonders about things he used to take for granted, including his place in the world, friendship, and loyalty, and the role of luck and choice in his future. Meanwhile, Copper's uncle writes to him in a journal, sharing knowledge and offering his advice on life's big questions as Copper begins to consider what matters most. How Do You Live is a Japanese classic written for young readers and cherished by many for a lifetime. Oh wow, okay. So it says animator Miyazaki, Spirited Away, My Neighbor Totoro, Howl's Moving Castle, has called it his favorite childhood book and announced plans to make it the basis of his expected final film. Wow. So it is a children's book. So apparently this book is a children's book, and it's going to have themes. The fellow who made Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle and all that. His final film will have themes from this book. And that's actually very wonderful. That makes me want to read this book even more now. Incredible. When I was younger, one of my favorite books to read was, what were they called? The Magic Treehouse, I believe. The Magic Treehouse. Absolutely wonderful books. I loved them growing up. Every time I would see it in the library at school, I'd always pick up the book. I was also, when I was younger, very fascinated with the Titanic. I read every book about the Titanic. I watched Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic about 1 million times. I don't know what it was. I don't know. I was very fearful of the ocean when I was younger, and also of boats, because boats are in the ocean. So I think I was very fascinated with the Titanic because it was one of my biggest fears in general. That's what I think, because I don't know what else? I don't know why an 8-9-year-old kid would be so fascinated with the Titanic at such a young age, but indeed I was. But I cannot wait to read this book now. In a way, I wish I read it first, but I already dove into the gate, so I have to read that one. I have committed indeed. But this will be a wonderful book. In a lighter tone, I suppose, than most books that I have. Speaking of depressing, we have The Setting Sun is the last book. Daw's Eye, again, No Longer Human is the book that got me into reading, so of course I have to read all of his books. I have, this is the third book I have from him. I have The Flowers of Buffoonery, which is his most recent translated story. It is like a prequel to No Longer Human in a way. And then No Longer Human, and then I got this book. This book is very different because anyone that's read No Longer Human or The Flowers of Buffoonery, it is pretty much, it's quote-unquote fiction, but a lot of the story, like 90% of it, I believe, is true events that happened to the author, but he used a different name, a different alias in the story. This book is about, in the simplest terms possible, it is about a young lady that is scared of her mother's declining health, her physical health. Her mother's getting sick, and she fears of what she's going to do when her mother passes away. Her brother was in the military. He left for a little while. They didn't think he was going to come back. He came back. There's a lot to this book. Like I said, that's the simplest explanation, but it's an amazing book. I do recommend it. I love his work. So, it says, this powerful and tragic novel vividly paints life in a nation in social and moral crisis. Set in the early post-war years, it probes the destructive effects of war and the transition from a feudal Japan to an industrial society. Daw's Eye died in 1948, but the influence of his book has made People of the Setting Sun a permanent part of Japanese language, and his heroine, Kazuko, a young aristocrat who deliberately abandons her class, a symbol, pervades so much of the modern world, written with beauty, refinement, and force. A work of unmistakable distinction. So yeah, his work, not necessarily happy, but I'd say this is a much lighter tone than the other stories that I've read. The Flowers of Buffoonery is the shortest book. I read that in one day. It was at, like, it's not even 100 pages. It's like 95, 98 pages. This book is 175 pages. I also love the font that they use with Daw's Eye's books. Very interesting. So this is the translators. I'm gonna you can see there. Probably can't. My camera's not the best, but it's an interesting font for the books, and I really like it. And I feel like the font itself just fits his story so well. If you've never read a book by him, I suggest this. I suggest No Longer Human, an amazing author. No Longer Human, like I said, is a darker book. It dives into some pretty dark subjects, so please keep that in mind. I don't want to talk about the subjects at hand because I want to help you relax. So I don't want to speak on the subjects, but choose to look it up if you please. But The Setting Sun doesn't really have, it does have a dark tone sometimes, but I feel like it is a lot lighter than some of his other books. Definitely. also feel the material that they use for his books have a really good tapping sound. It's a wonderful tapping sound. Absolutely wonderful. But that is the setting sun. The setting sun. And with that, that is all I have to show you today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope if you enjoy books like I do, you can pick up one of these books and read them. Let me know what you think. If you've already read any of these books, let me know down in the comments, and let me know which one was your favorite and why you liked it. I would like to know. I like communicating with you all. So, I hope this helped you relax. I hope you're sleepy. I hope you can barely even keep your eyes open right now. Even better, I hope you're already asleep and you're just holding your phone in your hand and I'm just talking to a sleeping you.